the heavyweight title.
All right, to the NFL now. Antonio Brown practicing with the Patriots 3 times this week. Traveled with the team to Miami for their 1 p.m. Eastern game against the Dolphins today. He's facing a civil lawsuit in which his former trainer, Brittany Taylor, says that he sexually assaulted her on 3 occasions. He has not been placed on the commissioner's exempt list. It'll be up to Bill Belichick to determine whether he plays today. And for more, we welcome in our NFL insider, Adam Schefter. So what's the latest, Adam, in this situation?
And he travels with the team. The Patriots don't bring players to Miami to go visit South Beach. When you travel with the team, the intention is to play with the team. And let's keep in mind, they're paying him about $1 million per week. So again, you're not paying him $1 million a week to have him sit on the bench. He worked with the team. I think the Patriots love his talents. They want to begin to incorporate him into the game plan. Expect him to be out there today. We'll see how much he's involved in the package today. But Antonio Brown's going to make his Patriots debut today against the Miami Dolphins right near where he grew up. So I'm sure it'll carry some added meaning for him.
Yeah, exactly. Right there in his hometown. Adam, let's get to some other games and some key injuries. And as we know, Melvin Gordon continues his holdout with the Chargers, but they're also shorthanded today on the injury front.
Well, listen, they could be missing up to 7 starters for today's game. Mike Williams didn't practice some this week, but my understanding is they're going to use him some today in the red zone area. But no Melvin Gordon. He'll miss his 2nd straight game today. No Russell Okung along the offensive line. No Derwin James. They don't even have their kicker today, Michael Badgley. They're going to have to use their punter, Ty Long, as their kicker because Badgley's nursing a strained groin. So the Chargers are banged up going into Detroit to play the Detroit Lions. On the other hand, we've got a matchup of 2 exciting, great young quarterbacks in the NFL. Kyler Murray leads the Cardinals into Baltimore. Never easy for a West Coast team to go back east to play an early game, especially against a team like the Ravens, who's as hot as Lamar Jackson is. He's been the talk of the summer. He was the talk of the first week of the season. And again, right away, he bolted himself into the conversation where he could be in consideration for MVP if he keeps us up all year long. He's been that good, and Baltimore has felt this strongly about him all year long. Should be an exciting matchup today between those two teams.
He's had one of the best career starts ever for a quarterback, 7-1 as a starter.
Pretty good, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Can't wait to see you on Countdown Top of the Hour. That's Adam Schefter. Thanks.
Hey, why would
box first?
I'm going with the Steelers, -3.5. It's not very often we get to buy low on a really good team in week 2. They were the only NFL team last year. They're ranked top 6 in both offensive and defensive efficiency. And thanks to a 30-point loss in New England in week 1, I think we're getting a cheap price. And on the other side, Seattle struggled in their home opener against Cincinnati. They won by 1, but they were outgained by nearly 200 yards, only managed 233 themselves. They're 1-13 against the spread the last decade on the road in weeks 1 and 2. Seattle is. So I'm going with the Steelers, -3.5.
Yeah, it's one of those West Coast teams in that early time slot as well. Joe, what about you?
Cincinnati -1 over San Francisco, Doug. Back-to-back road games for the Niners to start the season, and I don't like their offense today. They generated just 14 points last week at Tampa Bay. They came out of week 1 ranked 28th in yards per play. Once again, Jimmy Garoppolo unwilling to throw the ball down the field. He's got an inexperienced receiver core, and this is Cincinnati's only home game of the opening month of the season. I like the Bengals minus the point.
Yeah, another West Coast team in that early slot, although they've stayed on the road since playing at Tampa Bay. Gentlemen, thank you. I'm going to go to an over-under. I'm going to go over in the Cowboys-Redskins game. Dallas's offense has been clicking since mid-last season, adding Amari Cooper, and it's just looked so much better in week 1 with the addition of Kellen Moore as the offensive coordinator. I'll kind of ride that hot streak, and I think the Redskins put up enough points as well. Don't forget to join us 9 a.m. Sundays and also Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern.
All right, let's continue here on SportsCenter.
SportsCenter Sprint, running through this morning's headlines.
Thank you so much, Hannah. Antonio Brown practicing 3 times this week, traveling with the Patriots to Miami Gardens for today's game against the Dolphins. Brown facing a civil lawsuit in which a woman says he sexually assaulted her on 3 occasions. Jeff Darlington now with the very latest.
Well, here's what we know so far. First of all, Antonio Brown did make the trip to Miami after what was described to me as a very productive week of practice. Brown putting in overtime each day to try to digest the playbook with the intention of playing today. Now, we should point out that we don't find out inactives until 90 minutes before kickoff. We anticipate that he will be active for this game, but as we know, when it comes to this story, anything is possible. So we'll pay attention to those inactives, but as of now, expect Brown to play.
Meanwhile, in Vancouver.
Well, Rams safety John Johnson, who caught the game-changing interception in the NFC Championship between the Rams and the Saints, told me this about today's revenge matchup here at the LA Coliseum. Well, clearly this is another marquee matchup everybody's going to be watching, and it might get a little chippy. Added Johnson, obviously they're frustrated from what happened last year, and we anticipate that they're going to give us everything that they've got and that their fans are going to be down our throats, even though it's only week 2.
As Kyler Murray gets ready for his first NFL road game, he continues to earn respect and praise inside the Cardinals locker room. A few veterans told me Murray is definitely cocky, and that is the reason he believes he will never fail. Now Murray must try and win over skeptics who always diminish the passing skills of players labeled as running quarterbacks, like the one he will face today in Lamar Jackson of the Ravens. Cliff Kingsbury on the stigma mobile quarterbacks face. I think it's gone on forever, he said. If somebody comes along that proves that wrong, then a lot of people are wrong, and people don't like being wrong.
Vikings cornerback Xavier Rhodes always shadows the other team's #1 receiver, and he told me the guy that gives him the toughest time is Green Bay's Davante Adams. Rhodes has been studying tape of Adams for more than a month to get ready for this game today. You know Aaron Rodgers will be looking for Adams, but this Packers offense is still a work in progress early in Coach Matt LaFleur's first season. Rodgers is even experimenting for the first time with wearing a wristband play sheet to help the offense process some of LaFleur's longer play calls more quickly and efficiently.
Success becomes more challenging for Dak Prescott and offensive coordinator Kellen Moore beginning today. They've lost the element of surprise that played to their benefit in Week 1 when Moore called plays in the NFL for the first time. I'm told one of the things first-year quarterbacks coach John Kitna has emphasized to Prescott is the importance of not just completing passes, but of being able to consistently put the ball exactly where it needs to be located. He said great quarterbacks create yards after the catch for their receivers. In Week 1, the Cowboys' top 3 wide receivers, Michael Gallup, Randall Cobb, and Amari Cooper, all rank among the top 30 in yards after the catch.
Eduardo, thank you much. Speaking of, Jason Garrett arriving in Washington for the big game. Whatever he and Dak Prescott got together and worked on last week against the Giants, I'm hoping to do it this week again. You see Dak's numbers, had a fantastic day. Dallas, Washington later. Our NFL analyst, Amy Woody, joining us right now on SportsCenter. So much talk surrounding that Cowboys offense and what they did last week against the Giants. How much are you buying into what they did?
Well, listen, I think it's hard to duplicate a perfect quarterback rating. But I do think that they'll be really successful in the play-action pass. That's what they did very well last week against the Giants. You got to remember also, Zeke is still working himself back in the football shape. He only had 89 yards rushing. That's going to increase as Zeke gets him more in football shape. So Dak numbers might come down a little bit, but I think he'll be more efficient as a passer because Zeke will get their running game going.
All right, another big NFC matchup, Vikings and Packers at Lambeau Field. We've been talking about it. Aaron Rodgers was under pressure for that entire game against the Bears in Week 1. What do you like in the matchup between the Packers offense and this Vikings defense?
I like the Vikings defense. I think that the Vikings defense has been a thorn in Aaron Rodgers' side now for a couple of years. Remember, they knocked him out, I believe it was last year. They have a bunch of pass rushers. Everson Griffin, Danielle Hunter, Anthony Barr. They got a lot of guys to get after the quarterback. This Vikings defense is looking to get back on track after kind of falling back a little bit in 2018. Look for them to get after Aaron Rodgers again.
All right, young guns on display this game between two of the last 3 Heisman Trophy winners, Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. If you're an NFL GM, which of these young men would you rather have?
I would want to have both of them, but I want to go with Kyler Murray. He seems like coming into the league, he's a little bit more advanced as a passer. They're both dynamic athletes, but when you're talking about these young quarterbacks, it's really about the structure that they're coming into. I think that's really the most important thing. Baltimore's doing a great job of bringing in talent and structuring things to suit the abilities of Lamar Jackson. So, and that's really the key to having these young guys be successful in the National Football League. We need to see if Cliff Kingsbury is going to do the same thing.
Okay, so you'd pick Kyler. What do you need to see from Lamar today to let you know that last week, as great as it was, wasn't just an aberration?
Well, listen, I think I think a lot of people want to see, okay, if the running game's not working, can Lamar consistently beat you with his arm? You saw the deep passes. He's really accurate throwing the ball deep. Intermediate, can he win the game from the neck up within the pocket? I think that's the next step for a lot of people when they watch Lamar Jackson.
Looking forward to this one. Damian Woody.
Yep.
Thank you, my friend.
No problem.
All right.
Well, fellas, the Steelers host Seattle looking for a bounce-back game as Ben Roethlisberger saw his streak with a passing touchdown snapped at 26 games on Sunday. That was the longest active streak in the NFL. As you know, they scored only 3 points against the Patriots. Last time they scored 3 or fewer points in consecutive games was 1951. Whoa. So the Steelers looking to get some on the board today.